Hey, what's going on guys, it's Bagas here and we're so close to wrapping up our review of the Walking With series because today, in the penultimate review of the series, I'm going to be reviewing Ballad of Big Al. And by the way, a little fun fact, I'm pretty sure this is one of the first entries in the Walking With series that I watched as a kid, but I haven't really revisited it lately, so I'm really excited to do so. Anyways, without any further ado, let's start the review. Ballad of Big Al, or Allosaurus, whichever one you prefer, is a two-part documentary where basically there's this near-complete Allosaurus skeleton dubbed Big Al that was found in Wyoming in 1991, and we're able to learn so much about it that we can basically recreate his life. The first part is the actual telling of Big Al's life that I'll elaborate on when we get to the episode segment, and the second part is a making of that goes into what the paleontologist learned from Al's fossils to recreate the plot points within the story. With that done, let's move on to the episodes. The story starts with us seeing the mounted skeleton of Big Al while some rather poetic narration plays, before the supposed ghost of Big Al appears as we pan to some eggs before dissolving into the moment of Al's hatching. Throughout the documentary, we see different stages of Al's life as he grows up, starting from him as a hatchling catching insects and encountering dangers, then to when he's 2 years old, where we witness a swamp containing a dead Stegosaurus and a trapped Allosaurus that tracks another Allosaurus to the carcass, but it ends up being stuck in the mud, unable to escape. And this trap is similar to that of the more famous La Brea tar pits in Los Angeles, that is a fossil gold mine for trapped Ice Age creatures. At the age of 5, we witness Al alongside many other Allosaurus in a salt lake, hunting a herd of Diplodocus. And what I absolutely love about this hunt is that there's no actual fighting. There's not a single drop of blood within this fight, because the Allosaurus merely separate a sick individual from the herd and letting the heat and exhaustion bring it down. It just shows that you don't need a bloody battle to convey a hunt, and it's a lesson other dinosaur documentaries should take. A year later, Al then discovers a female and lets out a mating call, but this ends up bad as the female attacks Al, leaving him with a torn arm and broken ribs. Then several months later, Al gets injured and due to the harsh conditions is unable to heal, and he ends up dying on a dried up riverbank. And ironically, the rains that could have saved him just come a bit too late. But it also ended up preserving his skeleton perfectly for 145 million years as we fade back to the museum. A thing that I noticed in the documentary was that there was a lot of breaks in the narration, and it allows the visuals to speak for themselves. And it's a great example of wordless storytelling, and also a tip to any aspiring filmmakers out there, you don't need dialogue or narration to convey something, because sometimes great visuals is all it takes. And speaking of visuals, I particularly like the visual storytelling, because when Al is growing and thriving, the environment reflects this, with the wet season being lush and vibrant. But as Al ascends into his downward spiral due to his many injuries, the environment and conditions get worse as the drought kicks in. It's these more subtle things that you notice while watching it that just improves your overall viewing experience. The practical effects also seem to be used a lot more often, and it just adds to the sense of realism. The second part of the documentary is basically the scientific research behind Big Al's life story, and they quite literally explain every decision they made within the documentary. Everything from the shape of Al's nest to his behavior, even his injuries, and they reach their conclusions by studying his bones alongside the bones of other dinosaurs and the behavior of his modern relatives. For instance, there's a part where they analyze how Al would have acted by casting a model brain from the skull of an Allosaurus, then comparing it to the brains of a crocodile and a bird, and from the shape of the brain and sizes of each part of the brain, they conclude that Allosaurus would have acted more like a crocodile due to the similarities in their brain shape. It just shows the level of effort and dedication it takes to make a dinosaur documentary of this quality, and I implore you to just watch it for yourself. You'll learn a lot more about dinosaurs that you might have not known before. Also, there's some parts where there's a CGI Allosaurus, and it provides some great comic relief. In conclusion, after revisiting this entry, my opinion on it has improved drastically. The story of Big Al itself was very well paced, and I also like the subtle aspects of it, which is probably why I had a much more enjoyable time watching it. And on a visual front, the CGI is the definite improvement on Walking with Dinosaurs. And yes, this did come out before Walking with Beasts. As for the making of part, It is honestly some of the best dinosaur media that explains the science behind the documentary I've ever seen. They really do make sure that every choice they make has a scientific basis while also making sure that the viewer can easily understand the information they're conveying. If there's one thing I can criticize, that the story and the making of are two separate episodes technically, and because of that there is a possibility that a part of the audience has only seen the story without actually watching the making of. Heck, it even happened to me. I never even knew there was a making of until a few years ago. But then again, I would consider that a nitpick, and it's not really a problem with the documentary itself. So overall, I dare say this might be my second favorite entry in the series. And to be honest, its only competition is Chased by Sea Monsters. And if you were to ask me which of the Walking With series I would recommend, I would say this entry because it truly is one of the best dinosaur documentaries I've seen. And I completely urge you to watch it for yourself. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And to be honest, I really was not expecting to enjoy this one as much as I did. Because, before I, revisited it, God, I keep forgetting that the camera's not over there, it's over here. But, before, revisiting Ballad of Big Al, it was like middle of the road for me. But now it's like my second favorite, only behind Chased by Sea Monsters. So I guess that there's that. I guess that just shows how much opinions can change. But it was actually I'm kind of glad now that I have uploaded that the previous video, which when I reacted to my what do you call it? When I reacted to my other reviews, because it really gave me sort of reflection. I think I improved with some of the pointers I mentioned in that video. But anyways, I won't take up any more of your time. I really don't want this video to be, too long. So, in fact, it's probably not even that long. But I don't want to make it like, reach like 10 minutes. So, I'll just see you in the next video. Bye.